Hi again, friends. I would like to talk to you a little bit about this root desires exercise that I'm inviting you to do. Um, let's do it this way. I want you to start by thinking of 3 or 4 things that you really know are favorite things of yours to do. My examples are going to be games of any kind, ski trips with buddies, and time at our family lake cabin, just to name a few. And what I'm going to invite you to do is to explore in your list why these things mean so much to you, looking a little more deeply into them. So my first example, the sports or games things of all kinds. When I was little, it was pee-wee baseball and then basketball. Today it wouldn't matter if it was horseshoes or darts, whatever game is going on, I want in. I always take to that stuff. And why is an interesting question for me to ask. I realize, since I was very young, that I had some very gifted athletic competence. So I always felt good when I was doing things like that. And I have to say, I got a ton of attention for doing sports well. Even as a little guy, neighbor kids would ask my mom if they could have me come outside so they could pitch balls at me or something and kind of giggle about how hard I would hit them and so on like that. So very early on, and why does that stuff matter? It's still not necessarily to the root of this thing. What is at the root? When I think of that mattering to me, I remember that much of my social stock when I was a little kid, through grade school at least, was wrapped up in sports. My popularity on playgrounds and classrooms had a large part to do with not how smart I was or, how good looking. It was my athletic competence. In addition to the sheer fun, I guess a root desire at the bottom of all of this is that it helps me feel valued and wanted and welcome. Sports always gave this to me when I was growing up, and perhaps it's still why I have to think about it some more. It's still why I continue to enjoy doing stuff like skiing. It's interesting to me to think that it's really a part of my self-esteem and my social value with other people. The second example that I wanted to think about was this ski vacations with buddies. That's one of my favorite things to do now, and I don't do it very often. A couple of times a year I'll go for a long weekend with some friends, but boy, I look forward to it. And the time that I'm there is so good. So why? Some of it, whoops, my screen's bouncing around on me. Some of this is the camaraderie with people who know me well and with whom I can be myself. That's nice, isn't it? You guys probably have that experience with your best friends. It's also the sport thing again, skiing well for my age and enjoying my athletic competence. I also love where I am. I love being out in the mountains where fresh air and great scenery is and all that. If I was not so good at it, if other people were smoking me and I was always panting and trying to keep up, I might not like it as much. But the combination of those three, there seems to be a confluence of things there. One is the repeated sports thing. The other is camaraderie with people with whom I feel at home. And the last is the natural beauty of a ski resort and to being in the mountains. That means a lot to me, I find. It has to do with feeling connected to the earth and to inner peace. Things like that are obvious root values there. My third example is going to my lake cabin that my family's owned since I was a little guy. And I'm heading there tomorrow, in fact, for a little while. Why do I love that place so much? Well, again, there's the water skiing aspect. I still water ski well and a lot, and there's also the warmth of it and the cool lake water, just to be hot and in my shorts and to be in and out of the water so often is just luxurious. Outdoor meals with friends on our deck over sunsets and things like that, cooking outside. There's something about all of that, again, this nature, it's the physicality of being able to play golf or ski or whatever there. The natural setting, again, makes me feel connected to the earth. The one thing that's different about the lake cabin is that for over 40 years, all of my people I have loved have gathered there. When I'm there, I feel like I'm continuing something, keeping their memories alive for me, and continuing that tradition of having that place to be our place of rest and recreation. So the root desires, I guess I would say, to summarize, are inner peace again, family belonging, probably earth connection too, to being outside again. All those three things are root desires for me. If you see some patterns emerging, I do. I have a root desire to feel love, to feel I belong, and to feel I'm lovable. Sports have played a big role in that, as have teaching and coaching as an adult. Second, I have a deep desire for inner peace as opposed to stress in an often busy life. Skiing, golfing, spending time at the cabin, all these feed my root desires and help me feel connected to God and nature. These places and activities just feel so right and true for me. If I was a fish that spent a lot of time flopping around on the sandy beach, it would be like finally getting back into the water again. When I pull into my cabin yard, I just feel like, this is my place. And going long times without them, I feel off balance and out of whack, like a penguin might feel in Las Vegas, right? So returning to cool water and snow would feel exhilaratingly right for a penguin. It's who he is to the core. If this starts to make sense to you, I think you'll be able to do this exercise for yourself, starting, of course, with your things and digging to see if you can find the root. If there's a point where you get to and you say, well, why do I love that so much, inner peace or whatever, there's no deeper place to dig, then you know you're at the root. I hope you enjoy this.